So the Disney empire has just gotten bigger. If you haven't heard the news, Disney announced last week on Thursday morning that they are going to be acquiring a lot of properties from 21st Century Fox, including 20th Century Fox, a lot of the movie and television studios, some of their sports stuff, and it is going to be sold for about $53 billion in stock, and I think it's like an additional $14 billion of debt, totaling a deal of around $66 billion for Disney. It is a massive acquisition. A lot of people have asked me what I think about this, and so I figured I'd throw together a quick video. If you want to know the full details on what is being purchased and what isn't, I highly suggest checking out the DSNY newscast that covers it in more detail, but I'm going to go over a little bit what this might mean for the company and what I personally think this means for the company. And when I was thinking about this, I think the best way to go about it is looking at it as three separate parts. There's the business branch of what this deal means, there's the entertainment branch of what it means, and then I guess the theme park branch. And I'll do the theme park one first because I think that's the easiest, and that is I don't think we're going to see any significant changes to the parks anytime soon regarding this acquisition. I know people immediately started jumping to the idea of putting Alien in, a brand new Alien Encounter, or what it means for Avatar Land, since, Disney will now own the Avatar property. And the truth of the matter is, this deal is expected to close over the next year to year and a half because this is a massive acquisition. It is a pretty big global company, buying parts of another large global company, and so it has to go through a lot of regulatory processes. So, it might not be until the middle of, 2019 before Disney actually owns all this stuff. And by that point, I would imagine all of the plans for like the 50th anniversary for Disney World will be set in stone. So to that end, I don't think we're going to see anything come to the parks anytime soon. So the real two big parts to talk about here are the business and the entertainment. And what's interesting is, as far as the feedback online, I think we're seeing very mixed reactions when we consider both. A lot of people are very excited about the entertainment prospects of what this acquisition means, and a lot of people are very worried about what this means from a business perspective. From the business perspective, this isn't a monopoly. I think people who are calling this a monopoly are being hyperbolic, but it is some major media consolidation. And I think there's a strong argument that that's not a good thing for the industry. Disney becomes a bigger player in Hollywood. And as Disney fans, we might think, oh, that's great. But the problem is, when you don't have enough sufficient competition, then one, the leader gets lazy because they don't have to work as hard to stay ahead of the game. And two, they could start to throw their weight around to enforce practices that aren't as desirable for people who are outside of the company. And now they have more leverage to use against other companies when they're doing business dealings like that. So that's kind of troublesome. So on that end, I think it's not the greatest thing. I think there's a strong argument to be made that Fox was looking to sell these assets either way. So somebody was going to buy them. So somebody was about to get a lot larger. And, that's where I think it bleeds into the content part of this, or the entertainment part of this, where a lot of people will go, well, if anybody's going to own X-Men, I'm glad it's Disney. Of course, some people don't think that. They hate Disney movies, and I'm sure some of you watching are those people, in which this is a really bad thing. But, as a Disney channel and a Disney fan, I generally really like what they do with Marvel. I like what they do with Star Wars and Pixar. So from an entertainment perspective, I really like hearing this. I like hearing that franchises like Avatar and franchises like Alien are now going to be under Disney. I do think they're going to do something with it. People are afraid that because Disney is Disney and they're family friendly, that, they're like, goodbye to Deadpool being rated R. It's going to be PG-13. And I think those fears are not unfair to have, but a little too quick to jump to, because this is Disney. Historically speaking, they're not afraid of R-rated movies. This is what Touchstone was for. This is why they owned Miramax. The same year Disney put out The Lion King, they put out Pulp Fiction. So why am I to believe that they wouldn't do a rated R Deadpool? Look at The Punisher on Marvel. That is a very, adult-oriented Marvel branded TV show. So why wouldn't they do that in a movie? Now, that said, I don't think we're ever going to see Deadpool in like the same movie as a Captain America or an Iron Man, because I don't think the same reason I don't think we'll ever see the Punisher with Captain America, but I don't think that means they're not going to make it at all. You know, part of Iger's strategy with all of these acquisitions all along the way has been to find the talent, acquire the talent, and then let them do what they've been doing well. You know, they don't change the company culture that much or what their mandate is to do. And so, you know, I don't have any fears that we see this every time. So I'm not worried about that. I would say out of all the acquisitions, the least interested in this one from an entertainment perspective, because of all of those franchises. Like, I like the Alien one, but most of the other stuff, not a big deal for me. I don't really care for them. It's not like Star Wars where it was combining two things I loved. And then I guess the last point I have is there's a lot of interesting business considerations when it comes to streaming. You know, they now have controlling stake of Hulu, and they've said they still plan to create their own streaming service, and they're going to put the Disney stuff on that. They're going to keep the more adult stuff. Your Always Sunny in Philadelphia, for instance, would stay on Hulu, and then consumers would get to choose what they want, one or the other or both. Another question I've gotten very often was like, what do I think about Iger staying till 2021? You know, there's a part of my brain that's like, is he becoming Eisner where he's overstaying his welcome? The numbers show that, you know, he's doing a great job, so maybe that's not the case. I think it makes sense in this instance. The deal is expected to take a year to a year and a half. And on the conference call when this was announced, they said it was going to take up to 2 years for all of the finances to balance out from this purchase. So it would make sense they'd want to keep the same CEO on board until all of that levels off and then pass it on to somebody else. So I guess in the meantime, I'm okay with it. I think it does mean there's no chance we're going to see any original rides come to the park while he's here. So that's a little unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, that's what I think. I would love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Is this a good idea, a bad idea? What franchise are you most excited to see Disney take control of? Let's hear it. We'll have this discussion. Thank you all for watching. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time for the next acquisition. Who knows what it'll be.